Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the long range weather forecast discussion. And this is for the period of March 23rd to April 6th discussion. And this is for the period. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to look at the period for March 23rd to the 27th. This is what we're expecting here. Mostly a zonal flow here. A little bit of troughing here still across the northeast Great Lakes region, below normal heights here. So we will have a closed low here in the Gulf of Alaska, and that will send a couple of short waves across southern Canada and the northern states. And these waves will be weak, but occasionally will erode the ridge here across the southwest. Across the northwest, and that'll allow for some precipitation. All right. The upper level ridge will support a record heat across the southwest. Now we'll look at the current high temperatures. All right. Okay, right here. These are the current temperatures: 102, 100, 102, 108 in Southern California. And this heat is slowly expanding eastward. It'll reach into here parts of the plains and so forth. The northeast will still remain cool due to the troughing here across the region. Now, why is the weather like this? You gotta look at the jet stream. Here's the current jet stream configuration. It goes up here over the ridge. This is all tight, and I'll show you what's going on. And then over the ridge and then down. Pretty much what we had all winter. Now, another thing that is going on is flooding in Hawaii, and we'll look at that right now. Let me see where I have the map. Okay, right here. Here is the current rainfall map that has fallen, and here is near, I can't say Hawaii. That's observed 6:45 p.m. This is the rainfall totals here. Here is our estimate guide. This is just from today. Now we'll look at the radar. You see the current radar here. Now another thing you're going to look at is let's see. Right here, this is the map I wanted to show you. Look how this is all occurring right here. All right. Here, I just had Hawaii here. I was trying to locate it. Okay, here's Hawaii. So here's the flow coming off here, and look where it's going. Up over the ridge and into the northwest, or mostly Washington State. So we can take a look at the rainfall totals here. First, we'll look at the northwest. Do I have the northwest? Okay, right here. Okay, this is the GFS. Now we'll look at the GFS. Bringing lighter precipitation in the next couple of days. Then it gets heavier now, again, approaching a half an inch. This is in 6-hour intervals. All right. Now we'll look at Hawaii's rainfall total. This is the GFS. It's in 6-hour period. We have looks like the pockets of heaviest rain are more offshore, but rainfall is persistent. And it'll be close to an inch every day. Now this is causing flooding and dam bursts. Now we'll look at the European. European has more rainfall. We have here, I can't read that. It was just an island. All right, it shows heavier rainfall. So this would be a wet pattern here. Now we'll get back to the mainland, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see here we have several systems moving across the northern states. This will bring some snow, back it up here a little bit, across northern New York State into parts of New England. Could be locally heavier amounts, but it looks like it'll generally be a light rainfall amount. Here's the low on later. This is the map for later on March 22nd on in 2 days on Sunday. All right. Then we get the next one moving across the northern states. See here, that brings some snow to the Great Lakes, and then into the northeast. Okay. Rain further to the south. You can see it right there. All right. That's the different models. The European and the GFS. I'm using the two models here, right? There's still a shot of colder air coming, so to the east, it'll be warm up, then cool down, and then warm up, cool down again as we get later on in the period. Now, we'll back up here a little bit to Tuesday. Now we'll back. Okay, on Tuesday, later on Tuesday, it'll be a system that'll be moving in, bringing heavier precipitation to Washington State. Highest elevations could be snow. Elevations will be high. Snow elevations will be high with that. The low will weaken as it crosses the central states and then redevelop in the east. So we'll go back to the surface map. All right, we'll go back to the surface map, and this will cross the northeast later on in the week. This system right here, bringing rain and some snow to the northeast. Okay, another thing I want to go back to is the heat. Now we're going to look at the, this is the current heat index maps. This is the heat index. This is what it feels like right now. This is where the heat will be situated, cooler to the northeast. All right. Okay, now we're going to look at the period for March 28th to April 1st. And generally expect a trough forecast in the west, ridge in the east, across the east central states. Models a good agreement with that. So for this forecast period, I am calling for above normal temperatures here with the numbers of 10, maybe even 20 degrees above normal here in the red area. Below normal temperatures here with anomalies of 3 to 4 degrees below normal. Okay, and for precipitation, click to the map, calling for above normal precipitation here, continuing with that feed all the way from the tropical Pacific. Probability of occurrence is up to 40%. Below normal precipitation here, probability of occurrence is about 45%, mainly in this area. Now, this, along with the heat, will cause some fire dangers across this region. So we'll have, that's dangerous also, along with the heat and dry conditions. Okay, we're going to look at the period for March 28th through April 1st. Still, trough forecast in the west, zone of flow with above normal heights in the east. Models a good agreement with that. However, you see the European has an upper low here in the southwest or over the western states. So for this forecast period, I am calling for above normal temperatures here with the numbers of 10 degrees or more above normal. And if that upper low forms in the southwest, it'll be cooler. So we have to see how that is. But right now, this is what the forecast, 10 degrees or more. And for precipitation, calling for above normal precipitation here. Probability of occurrence is 35%. Below normal precipitation here. Probability of occurrence is 35 to 40%. Next thing, there's talk about another possible El Nino. We're going from La Nina, the cooling of the Pacific Ocean, to a La Nina, the cooling of the Pacific waters. and we'll take a look at the various forecasts. All right. So here's a forecast for the Nino 3.4 areas. You see his forecast here. The black line is daily NCDC daily analysis, and then you have like the members here. The members here, ladies B and A, are the blue and all, but they all show it warming. Look to much, it's almost maybe close to 2 degrees uh, above normal. So this is going into April, and this is the earliest B forecast members, and then the other members have it a little bit lower, but close, but still show a warming. All right. Another forecast I want to show you here is oh, we have an error. These maps aren't showing. I gotta fix that. This is the cold warm episode here of region 3.4. Now we're going into here. This shows 20, but we're actually over here, and that shows a warming too, but it's below the 0 degree, but it'll be increasing later. Anything else I want to show you? This is probably old. Okay. These are old. Now I don't know if you can see this. This is as of December. This is late December. Shows a cooling trend, but here that'll be warming. This shows the analysis right now. And okay, so then we're in the March, April, May period. Look at the probability increases during the summer months. And into fall, the probability increases to 60% of a forecast of a La Nina. So we'll be watching that too. I'll probably start issuing El Nino advisories soon. I have to see how conditions warrant, but look at this. The trend is upwards. All right. So I'll let you know what that'll mean for the coming summer and probably winter seasons. All right. So that's it for today. That is the long range weather forecast discussion for March 23rd through April 6th. Thanks for stopping by.